Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Stuntman. This is a Disney Plus original documentary. It was actually made in 2018, but I think it was just never released, obviously, until, well, Disney took ownership of it, and of course, then put it on, you know, Disney Plus. Right about this time last summer or so, when the Jungle Cruise movie came out. Coincidence because Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Do we have to keep saying The Rock? It's not necessary anymore. He's Dwayne Johnson, but he's also The Rock. But either way, he's the producer behind it. His production company is behind this. He's a big fan of stuntmen and the people, stunt people, and everybody who puts all the work in to make him look good on screen. Because, yeah, the Rock's a tough guy, but he doesn't do all of his stunts, especially the most dangerous ones, which, yeah, you don't want the big star suddenly losing a big star due to a stunt. We've had that happen way too many times. We've also had way too many stunt people lost over the years due to accidents. And make no mistake, these things, these kind of stunts, these kind of activities, which have been going on in film since film existed, pretty much, are, yeah, they're people are taking their lives from their hands, but they are professionals. And as a Rock, who introduces this film at the very beginning, makes it very clear: do not try these things at home, especially you kids who may not get that message somehow. But it was very much a point of the film that, as a child, Eddie Braun, the main person in this is all about Eddie Braun. He was inspired as a kid to become a stuntman through the actions of Daredevil, not the superhero, actions of Daredevil, Evil Knievel, which I remember. I was a fan of Evil Knievel when I was a kid. That gives you an idea of how old I am. Back's hurting me. I had the little rev up motorcycle thing that you just. I don't know if you cranked. I can't remember if you cranked it, or maybe I had something that may not have been his, but you cranked it and then his motorcycle just sort of shot off and did jumps if you had a ramp there, things like that. Yeah, it's he was a big deal. He's a guy who did the impossible and jump all these school buses and stuff like that. One time he attempted to jump the Snake River Gorge. I can't remember what it's called, but it's in Idaho, in Indian Falls, Idaho, back in the 70s. It's about 1,700 feet wide, and when you see this documentary, they show lots of footage from that jump, and they show you what went wrong, and they showed you why what went wrong, and he survived. Yes, Evil Knievel survived, but he never went back to try it again. However, Eddie Braun is not one to be stopped at something simple like that. He's these days. Okay, I'm spoiling this. He survives. It would be a very, very grim documentary if Disney Plus put out a documentary where the stuntman dies doing his big stunt. So yes, he survives. Although they make every effort to make the possibility that he won't survive very dramatic. Like they show some scenes from the end of the film at the beginning of the film, and where everybody's sort of scrambling, and you kind of figure, oh no, he didn't make it. He's not gonna make it. He makes it, but not without a lot of trial and error from the start. This whole process started in about 2014. The son of the guy who his name's Scott Truax. He was the son of, why can't I say his last name? I mean his first name. I know his last name is Truax, obviously, but Mr. Truax was part of NASA, and he worked with rocketry and everything else, and he helped Evil Knievel in his efforts to jump that gorge. Well, his father obviously passed away since then, but Scott decided he was going to take up that challenge, and it's kind of confusing at first. I can't remember if Truax got contacted by Eddie, or Eddie was contacted by Truax, or somebody contacted somebody else, and they just sort of all came together and said, hey, you know what? You got your dad's plans for the rocket? I want to jump that. I want to do it. I want to take on that responsibility. I want to do that stunt, and it's more than a stunt. It's literally a steam powered rocket. Steam powered rocket. This is not. There's no flames or jet power or anything else. It's steam to rocket you across a 1,700-foot wide gorge, and also super super deep. Once you, like I said, once you see it, how big this is, you'll get an idea of how dangerous this kind of jump is. But with this era, with the technology of the last 40, 50 years having changed so much, there's no lack of improvements, even though it is powered the same way as it was in the 70s. There's no lack of improvements in gauging the issues, gauging whether something will fail or not. And also, there's no end to the amount of cameras to capture this. There are some absolutely astounding angles that are gotten from just cameras everywhere on this plane and on the ground and everywhere else surrounding it. So when you get to see it, you have no lack of angles to watch this thing happen. It's pretty impressive, and he's surrounded himself. Eddie's surrounded himself with the who's who of stuntmen in his business. Most of them were his mentors and colleagues over the years. I mean, this is a guy. Eddie started way back, but he was a stuntman rolling cars and crashing helicopters back in on the Fall Guy, Dukes of Hazzard, Magnum PI, V. They're our friends. The Visitors are our friends. So yeah, he had all sorts of bona fides. He's been in tons of movies, Terminator and Avengers and Transformers and so many big blockbuster films. It's kind of he's everywhere. If you look at his IMDb page, which I did only after this was over, because if he did die, I didn't want to be spoiled. Like if there was a slim chance he would have died, I didn't want to see, oh, he died before this movie was released. I didn't want that to be spoiled. Then I went down through his history of all the stuff he's been in, and it's astounding. Now, I mean, he's also like a stunt coordinator, so he's not necessarily the guy who's going to be rolling the truck, but he is in charge of maintaining the safety and the control of the stunts and organizing everything, even for shows like Big Bang Theory or Mom or Two and a Half Men. Like those are not necessarily big stunt heavy shows. Nobody's usually going to lose their lives falling through a wall or a silly fight scene, in a comedy like that. But it requires stunt coordinators, so it's a much safer job, and it's a much better job to be able to, especially if you have a wife and 4 kids. So yeah, it's kind of better to be able to not have to risk your life constantly. Especially he's a little older than I am. Yeah, he's a little older than I am, but he's been doing this thing for so long, and he's part of this who's who of stuntmen. That he's the one who decided to step up and to complete the dream that his hero inspired him with so long ago. One of the neat little things in this is that Evel Knievel's family, obviously Evel Knievel, he's passed away a number of years now, but members of his family appear in this, and they even provided him with a little vial of his ashes to take with him on the trip. That's kind of cool. So, we along the way, you get to see images of his home life. He lives a few miles from me, just not honestly, probably 3-4 miles away from me. I probably go to the same movie theater he goes to, him and his kids. Who knows? Shop at the same stores. I will now, if I see him, I will recognize him. So, sorry, Eddie, if I act like a total dork next time I see you. But yeah, he's got a great little place in Manhattan Beach, from what I understand. So, they juxtapose those scenes with his family and how they deal with it, and we see this thing grow, because this documentary, was filmed starting in 2014, and with a ton of starts and stops, sponsorships, and then dropping out, big studios backing it, like we're gonna air this on the first night of the World Series, and you're gonna rock it over this thing, and then they pull out. And then other studios pick it up and go, yeah, we're gonna do this, and then they pull out. And then The Rock, joins in, but he's still backing it, but Rock doesn't own a studio. But guess what? Rock is a big deal at Disney, so guess how it ended up here. So yeah, it's a takes place from 2014 to about 2016 or so. You get to see the kids kind of grow up as you see their hairstyles change and everything else, and you see him working through the highs and lows of all of this as things keep constantly changing. Also, he gets to see the rocket for the first time, and it's the technology of the rocket has not changed that much, at least in the structure of it, the physical structure of it. It's if you fall out of the sky in that thing, it's a coffin. That's just no other way to put it. It's a coffin. It's a barely flying coffin. And by the only way he gets down, there's no landing this thing properly. It's literally a parachute that keeps you from smashing into the ground and dying. You smash into the ground regardless. It's a matter of how fast you smash into it that determines whether you live or die. So, yeah, to me, I love this behind-the-scenes stuff. And you get to see movies and TV shows you're familiar with, and you go, oh my gosh, I remember that scene. I remember that crash. I remember whatever that is. That was him behind the wheel. And he's gotten his bell rung a number of times over the years. And you got to figure, it puts his wife and kids under a terrible amount of stress to go, is Dad coming back from work today? I mean, sometimes, it's not so hard on the, 2.5 Men, set. But he's rolling a truck that it has a bomb in the back, literally a bomb to make it explode and flip over, in Sons of Anarchy or something, or some other show or movie. Well, there's no guarantees that he's even going to walk away from it without a scratch. But he's done his share of these things over the years. The fact that he's dealing with this stuff still. Hernias and ringing in his ears and everything else. He can't help but be a little bit damaged from stuff like this, because it's not a day at the beach, even though he lives just probably 2 miles from it. So yeah, it's to me, I love this kind of thing. I love these behind the scenes stuff. Like I said, it's interesting. Yes, there's a little bit of over dramatic tension added to this. There's lots of, I think there's a lot of it's actually genuine expressions of feeling and gratitude and camaraderie between him and his support team, the guys that are looking out for him, who have been through the things he's been through as a fellow stuntman, and also his family, everything else that goes in and out of that. So yeah, it's kind of really impressive. I enjoy this kind of thing. It's one of my favorite documentaries that I've seen on Disney Plus. So if you love the world of movie making, and you're not so much about the movie stars, but you like how they're put together, the behind the scenes stuff, and you want to see how one of these stuntmen, just makes a living destroying things and nearly himself, and every chance he gets. Watch this. All right. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
535.
535. Oh, 535. Sorry, I'm seeing neighbors out there. Oh, well, we just had we just had St. Patrick's Day last week. So, well, we're a little bit late on this one, but we'll watch this anyway. Close enough. We're going to be watching The Luck of the Irish. The Luck of the Irish from 2001. I was about 21 years old. The Luck of the Irish is a what's up next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.